topic today, and get your questions ready, is what significant others can do to help. So I'm going to be telling you some advice, whether you're the person dealing with skin picking or hair pulling, or if you're the one that is the significant other of somebody who's stealing. So yeah, there's two perspectives here, which makes things more interesting, doesn't it? For sure. So the first thing I want to say, I guess, is that, oh, thank you, Brianne. Brianne recommends my book to many of her clients. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Yeah, I'm sure they find it helpful. About adults that do these things or children, I am talking about adults specifically because significant others, but some of it is applicable to, say, the parent of the child. Oh, thanks so much, Jessica. Wonderful. I'm glad that you like my book. Really the most important thing I think for significant others to remember is that this is not your problem per se, okay? And so there's a limit to what you can do. The best that you can do is probably to just be unconditionally loving no matter what, and recognize that your spouse or your significant other may or may not be ready to deal with this right now, and that they're going to come to it on their own time when they're ready to deal with it. So I think that's really important to mention. Now, I've encountered, you know, the people that I coached, from the people I've coached to the people I've had consultations with, there's kind of a range of what is going on here. I've had a range from like women who never, ever, ever spoke to her husband about it, you know, even though he clearly must have known that something was going on, but they never talked about it, okay? And I think that was not very helpful in her, you know, attempt at recovery. You know, that's a big secret to keep, right? Yeah, I think somebody appreciated that from the hearts I saw. So from the range goes kind of from that to, I'm thinking of someone else who, you know, the marriage seemed to very much be hanging and depending on whether she was successfully dealing with it or not. And that was a lot of pressure on her. Most of the time, though, the significant others of the people that I've worked with, they've been pretty supportive, either the ones that I've worked with or the people that I've just heard from. It seems like, you know, it wasn't an issue right there. Either it wasn't an issue at all, or the person was very loving and helpful. I mean, maybe not helpful because they didn't know what to do, how to help, right? That's the biggest thing. That's, you know, I would guess from the significant other's point of view is that you feel kind of helpless, right? You really don't know how you can help them, what to do. Maybe you've tried a few things. I don't know if anyone wants to mention anything they've tried, but it just hasn't been helpful, right? I've also heard from a lot of significant others, you know, people that are emailing me about their friends or their partners' skin picking problems usually, and saying, oh, you know, yeah, she really wants to change and she's really ready, so she's going to contact you. And then usually she doesn't, right? Because why wasn't she the one looking me up and contacting me in the first place? Because she wasn't ready. So this has happened a number of times. You know, different people. It kind of seems to be a pattern. Is like, you know, the significant other is really ready for the other person to be done yet, but if they're not ready, there's really nothing that they can do, I would guess. I'm sorry not to have all the answers, but if the person's not ready, you really can't help them. Let's see. So some of the worst things that you could do as a significant other is anything, you know, to really get emotional in a negative way about it and to express that to the person. I mean, you know, if you want to get emotional about it, find somebody else, somebody neutral to talk to about it, because it really, as the person dealing with the skin picking or hair pulling themselves, you know, that's going to stress the person, that's going to stress you out even more, right? If your spouse is so angry or upset or something about it, and you know they're expressing their frustration to you. Thanks for sharing, Brianne. If they're expressing your frustration, their frustration, it's not going to be helpful to you, right? Because you are you're super stressed about it anyway. And stress is one of those things that ends up making us pick or pull more, right? It's definitely a trigger. So getting angry at your spouse for the behavior that they cannot control or they don't know how to control it at that point is not useful at all. So that's definitely one thing to not do. Now, I have some resources. There's a really good article on the trick.org website. Let's see if I can get the whole thing on there. So this is what I often refer people to if they're just emailing me, for example, or if any of my clients, you know, if their spouses or whatever significant others are not understanding, I'll send them this article. I'll send them the link to this article. It's very helpful, especially when the spouse is reacting negatively. Somebody pointed that out to me, you know, that it's not always, you know, this is the case. This is kind of the worst case scenario that he's explaining to those spouses, that, you know, this person really can't control it, and it's not your business to be their police, their skin or hair police, and it's not going to help them. It's going to stress them out more. So he makes a lot of these. He makes this point a lot. Okay, I think everybody got that link, hopefully. If not, watch the replay and pause it. And you can send hearts on the replay too. I just want to let you know. Just tap your screen away, tap it away. I love getting the hearts. Okay, so what else? Are there any questions so far? Oh, thanks for the hearts. It helps to add. Oh, that kind of reminds me of my next point. Unless there are any questions, but you know, what if your spouse like wants to help you and doesn't know how, right? Well, you have to actually know how or tell them how. Now, if you don't know what they can do to help, then, you know, you don't know yet. You need to go down the road maybe a little more yourself to realize what would be helpful to ask them to do. And it's totally up to you. That's kind of the thing that is important, I think, is that the power really needs to be the person that's dealing with the skin picking or hair pulling, that they have to be the one to ask, you know, for what they need from the other person, from their significant other. So, you know, if they feel like it would be helpful, if they want to ask, like, okay, if you see me or you notice I'm in the bathroom for more than 5 minutes, would you please knock on the door and ask me how I'm doing? If you want to. Or, you know, if you're watching TV together on the sofa, if you want to be reminded, you know, to like take your hands away from your skin and your hair and maybe pick up I have something somewhere, pick up a little Tangle toy or something instead, then you can tell them that and ask them that. And I think it's really important that this will change, right? You don't, maybe this will be helpful, or you think it will be helpful, and then it drives you crazy or something. And so, you know, you have the prerogative and the right to change your mind, right? And then to communicate this. But the name of the game, of course, is communication. And this is like totally not my expertise, really, because I don't work, I'm not a therapist, I don't work with couples, anything, but what I'm saying is more or less what I'm feeling from common sense or intuition, or just, I don't know, some kind of experience I pull from somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I like in Dr. Penzel's article, that's the one that I gave you the link for. And he wrote a book, The Hair Pulling Problem. I like that in his book, he emphasizes like, okay, just accept your partner is not perfect. That's the case no matter what, right? This is just, you know, like not accepting what is Oh, yeah, that's a good, thank you for that input. Right, Katie. Yeah, that's a great comment that I was kind of not thinking about because right, yeah, I wasn't really talking. Yeah, she's saying if her husband talked to his friends without her knowing, that'd be embarrassing. I was having in mind talking to a professional or something, but that is a really good point. Like, yeah, they want to talk to someone, but it really should be only if it's okay with you, you know. I mean, that would be respectful anyway. So, to summarize, it's like there's a bunch of points that I made, but it's up to the person that is doing the skin picking or hair pulling to ask what they need and what they don't need. It's the job of the significant other to respect and love no matter what, and not expect perfection, and just know that it's a timing thing, and the timing, you know, may not be to your liking. It might not, progress might not be fast enough or whatever, but there's little that you can do, and so it's best to just accept and understand that the pace will be what it will be, you know. These things take a long time to get over. They've been long-standing, in most cases, long-standing behavioral habits, and they're deeper than habits, you know, because they have a biological basis too. But it's taken a while to get there, and it takes a while to stop. Okay, it takes a lot of adding new behaviors in, and it's definitely, I like to say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you can't expect too much too soon. It's always changes bumpy, you know. It's like there'll be ups and downs on the road to progress, and